When you're starting out as a colorist, you really want to learn how to develop your eye for contrast. And contrast goes a long way. Contrast really is sort of the basis for how your image feels. If you have a high contrast scene, maybe you really crush the blacks and whites so that there's no detail in them. That could be a war scene. It'll add tension. In addition to some of the camera techniques that might have been used, you can use contrast as another technique. If you have a low contrast look, then you can really use that to have like a dreamy kind of dream sequence, or maybe a faded film 70s vibe, or whatever you want that to be. Maybe it's a flashback. That is what you can use contrast as a tool to do. In terms of developing your eye for contrast, I use a tool called the zone system, which is not something you can buy, but it is just it's more of a theory. It's just a way of quantifying contrast. So you have 10 zones. Zone 10 is pure white. Zone 1 is black. Zone 5 is 18% gray. So every time you hit another zone, you're either halving or doubling the amount of light that's in the scene. So it's using stops like you would in a camera, like an f-stop. So if you're at a zone 6 with skin tone, that's a little bright. If you're at a zone 4 with skin tone, that's a little dark. And you can basically use this as a checklist of, have I covered all my zones? If you're afraid of pushing contrast, you can ask yourself, where's my zone 10? Have I lost a lot of detail here, or is this just a small piece of the image? And that might be where you want it. You can ask yourself, where's my zone 1? Where's the black part of the image? Where are my midtones? The zone system is a way for you to check things off as you're coloring. If you're a little scared of pushing contrast, which a lot of new colorists are, you can use the zone system to help you work through that and figure out where the tonality of the scene is. The best way to learn about the zone system is to read the book The Negative by Ansel Adams. He really gets into it. It's actually something that he came up with. But if you don't have that kind of time or that kind of money, you can go to rondexter.com, and he's got a couple of write-ups about the zone system for video. It's just a great way to understand what should the contrast look like for just a purely nice looking image, and how can you use the contrast for your own creative control.